welcome to episode 154 of BigRedBarel Geek Speak, a place for all your nerdy needs on BigRedBarel.com. My name is Alex, I'm the host for this episode, and I'm the also self-appointed Baroness of Butts. Joining me today, as always, is very jubilant, Juggernaut of Jug!
Hello.
Hey! Godzilla is back!
That was I don't know if it was you guys I was talking about, but that was the little T-Rex that's not a T-Rex that makes a Godzilla sound, but is meant to be a T-Rex. I can't remember if I ranted on the podcast or on stream, but basically I had a rant that we bought this little cute T-Rex toy from Sainsbury's, but he's not a T-Rex, he's Godzilla. He's got 3 fingers for a start, so he's definitely not a T-Rex. And the label on him is more like a Parasaurolophus crossed with the Stegosaurus. But he's called Ted the T-Rex, and he makes the Godzilla noise, so we love him.
Aww.
So yeah, morning!
Morning! And also with us is very dangerous and incredibly darling Dermot.
Hello there.
Hello there.
I kind of broke up a little bit there.
Yes.
Let me try that again. Hello there. There
That's
we go.
better.
That's
better.
There we go.
I felt it all the way here.
Wait, where are you pointing right now?
Oh my.
Not telling? Let's not make it weird, people.
No.
Too late. The whole podcast for that.
Let's swiftly move on.
Let's swiftly move on to the time waster of the week, which I did not know existed until a second ago, and now I'm thoroughly amazed and marveled at Marvel TLDR. I know. No, it wasn't very good. But I'm sticking it. Which Di will explain properly, because he just explained to me, but I'll give him the honors again.
Yeah, no problem. So I came across this week. I don't know why. I was just sort of randomly browsing, and YouTube's algorithm that throws up suggestions just randomly throws up some stuff every so often. And I saw this. It's called Marvel TLDR. It's exactly what it kind of says. It's basically really short animated videos that cover off either Marvel characters or Marvel storylines in a kind of a fun way. The videos are about 3 to 5 minutes long. They're really short, really brief. And they just cover off some of the bigger storylines and characters that have happened. And they kind of point you then, once it completes, back to the storylines themselves to say, if you want to know more or more detail, here is where you can go. Usually the Marvel Unlimited comic app, which allows you to, for a subscription, kind of basically read any Marvel comic. It's really good if you haven't actually seen it. But the videos themselves are well produced. They're really funny, really well written. I've been kind of binging them when I have had nothing else to do this week. When I've had a few minutes, I just kind of watch one of them because it takes up 5 minutes. And I really enjoyed them. The one I watched most recently was actually the one that covered Deadpool Kills the Marvel Universe, which is a real comic kind of series. And it kind of briefly goes through what actually happens in that series of comics. But what I liked about the episode, as I said, they're quite funny, is in this one, just like in every other Deadpool thing, he breaks the fourth wall. So, he talks to the narrator of the TLDR show. And it's quite funny. But those videos are really, really good, and I would highly recommend watching them.
Yeah, I'm really impressed that they've actually, they've produced them themselves. It's the Marvel channel they've created, they've drawn it up, I guess, and done all the work just to point you to some awesome comics. That's amazing.
Yeah, and I like
really cool.
that they do cover some pretty big storylines, as I said, like Infinity Gauntlet, like Civil War, all of those kind of stories, and they do it in a really concise way. And then if you're kind of still interested and you want to see a bit more, they kind of point you to exactly where you need to go to get more. So it's obviously an advertising thing. It's by Marvel themselves, obviously. But at the same time, they do a good job of it, so I can't really complain.
Fair enough. Okay, so for anyone who is interested, the link is going to be in description for this episode. Now, let's move on to the news.
Yeah, I know what we're going to talk about there. I didn't feel very...
Yeah. Look, I
very
think
newsy.
It's sad, but it's also kind of...
It's a time for celebration.
Yes.
Yes,
as well.
Yes, it is.
exactly.
Yeah.
So we're talking about the passing of Stan Lee, who died at age 95 this week.
I mean, 95, crikey, that's
I know,
cracking.
right? That's
like,
really impressive.
If I could make it to 95 and make as many people, or even like a tiny fraction of the number of people happy that he did, I would be ecstatic. So, yeah, amazing.
I mean, there's gonna be, there will be a funny, funny, I'm not using it in the actual meaning of the word funny moment when you watch one of the Marvel movies and he doesn't appear in the cameo because he hasn't filmed it and it's gonna be sad and weird. But I think, he had a fantastic life. He left such an incredible mark on pop culture, geek culture of today. He clearly had a ball of a time doing it and loved Hollywood, loved being part of those movies, loved being with the fans, loved doing all that stuff. He probably is a definition of living your life to the fullest. And I think that is to be celebrated rather than to be upset by.
And not only that, he was a real leader and champion of diversity and progressive thinking and stuff like that. Like the whole Marvel series has for a long time pushed progressive ideas and kind of being welcoming to all and championing arguments against discrimination and things like that. So he was one of a kind, absolutely one of a kind, and by all accounts an absolute genuine wonderful person. So it is sad that we say goodbye, but so much to celebrate. I mean, what a legacy, what a universe he has left behind. There's not many people in the world that have actually changed the world, and he's one of them. He's absolutely changed the world, and that's incredible.
Also, one point that I wanted to raise, something that I saw on Twitter that I really thought was quite good, and it's actually something you kind of mentioned earlier, Alex, when you kind of said that he lived his life to the full, and he had obviously full life 95. He didn't create the thing he's known for, obviously, for most of us, is creating some of our favorite superheroes in Spider-Man, Fantastic Four, Daredevil, X-Men, all those. The first kind of one that he sort of created was the Fantastic Four, and he didn't do that until he was 39 years old.
Yeah.
So that just all of the work that we know him from is from the kind of the latter half of his life, and it was nice to see someone on Twitter point out that, and it was like, you never stop living, you never stop kind of
absolutely
having opportunities to do what you want to do, and obviously that's kind of what kind of brought him into the zeitgeist. And he only did that when he was 39. Exactly.
Yeah, he's incredibly inspiring. And as someone creeping ever closer to 40, I was like,
Joe.
I find things like that very inspiring. Like, you know what? You're not past it yet. It's fine.
Exactly. So it was just a nice kind of thing in the middle of a sad week. But as we say, it is one of those lives that needs to be celebrated rather than mourned.
Yes, definitely. Definitely. Nobody, it sounds terrible to say, but nobody lives forever. Nobody does. And the fact that he made it to 95 is amazing. And he changed the world, and that is absolutely something to celebrate. So, time for celebration, definitely.
Yes, so Excelsior and all of that.
Absolutely, yeah. Yeah.
Let's move on to the news that, I'm not going to say it's unexpected. I kind of was waiting until one of the big uns will drop out E3, and Sony just did.
Yeah. It was interesting to see who blinked first. And I'm not surprised that it was PlayStation. Like, when I first read this, my initial thought was, "Aw," but then also, actually, no, this is right for them. Because, as harsh as it sounds, E3 is losing its relevance. Every year that goes on, it's becoming less and less relevant. And people that are saying, "Oh, are Sony in trouble? Is this Sony doing a bad thing?" Actually, I think this reflects a hell of a lot more on E3 and the fact that it's not the mainstay for launching news about the games anymore. It just isn't. Things have changed, and I kind of like reading into this and into the fact that PlayStation also cancelled their PSX this year. I think we've got a much bigger PSX on the horizon for next year. I think they're going to try and do something similar to what Blizzard do with BlizzCon and make it a much, much bigger thing than PSX currently is.
Yeah, well, let's think about it. Like, E3 actually doesn't at all make sense for them, especially if they've already done PSX and this is something they've proven that works.
Yeah.
Why would they go on stage where they have to compete with everyone, where they can have their own event dedicated entirely to them, to their fans, where the focus is 100% on what they're doing? They can create their own conference that doesn't have to, who's had the best conference at the free this year? Ooh, la 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 la.
They can have as many people playing pipes as they want.
Exactly.
See, I loved that. And I was lucky enough to be at the party after that conference, the E3 just gone, and the whole staging was amazing. What they'd done in terms of building these different little staged areas where you could like walk through little scenes from the games. Brilliant. That Ghost of Tsushima area was lovely. It was so well done. So yeah, something that they can control and do their own thing and absolutely control what news they put out, what time they do it, when, where. They might do a tour. Who knows? They might do little PSXs all around the world. Who knows what they're planning?
Or the thing is, you don't even have to, because the cheapest thing to do is do a live stream of
do a
thing.
Nintendo Direct.
Yeah, do a Nintendo Direct. That just works. Nintendo, you know, they have some weird thinking sometimes.
Yeah.
But they've got a point there. You've got something to announce. Create a dedicated stream where you talk about that thing. Everyone's gonna tune in and watch it. And it's the cheapest way, and it's the most effective way.
Yeah.
Streaming exists for a reason. Like, someone came up with that idea not because it was a stupid one. No, because it works and people watch it. And it's easier than flying to LA to see a conference or something.
And E3 is extraordinarily expensive to attend. It is incredibly costly. So, yeah, if they can do something that's much more efficient, then good on them. But on the streaming front, as the Golden Joysticks learned last night, it's not without its dangers.
Of course, but I'm sure Sony can afford some better connection.
100%. So yeah, actually, you know what? I wonder if some people thought that I might be really upset about this, because, you know, obviously I am the PlayStation fan.
Yeah, you bleed blue.
I bleed blue. But to me, this is positive for them. It's them taking control of their own kind of news cycle. And yeah, I mean, you know, E3 kind of needs to change a few things, I think, if they want to continue to stay relevant.
Agreed.
Di, any additional thoughts?
The only thing, like, you've pretty much covered everything I was going to say, so thanks, guys.
Sorry, I blathered. I'm
but
sorry.
I am going to say something as well that I think is... So, immediately, as soon as this was announced, pretty much everybody jumped on the sort of bandwagon saying, PlayStation 5. That's what this means. It means that they're teeing up and then a kind of a reveal event, some sort of a big blowout, followed by a release. Now, the release won't come next year. The rumour is it's going to be early 2020, but we'll see. So that was kind of what I heard.
They can announce it still. They can make a big deal out of announcing it.
Exactly.
Like 6 months before or something.
But the thing is, the day...
Collect all the pre-orders and stuff.
The day this was announced, I was like everyone else. I was like initially disappointed because I was kind of like...
Yeah, we really enjoy watching their conferences. So
exactly.
It's like,
we're not going to have the Year of Dreams anymore. We're going to have, you know, but it also means that we don't have to stay up until 2:00 in the morning to watch the conference anymore.
Yay! Unless they shuffle the times around and someone else good ends up in that slot.
That is true.
I'm kind of into this now. Last was good. I'm kind of into it.
It was fun. Like, Sean and I were watching it in the hotel lobby at E3. Because, you know, the actual conference was press only, like strictly press only, which was unusual to begin with. And so we were both watching it in the lobby of the hotel, like, ooh. And there was all bunches of other industry people all in this lobby, and you could see them all staring at laptops, all watching the same thing. And then when The Last of Us 2 came on and they showed that gameplay, everyone was like, whoa, ooh, ooh. It was amazing. It was such an amazing experience. So yeah, I will miss that whole kind of, you know, collected sort of enjoyment of their conference, but we'll just have to watch whatever they do.
Exactly. And I was kind of the same. I was sort of initially disappointed, but then, like yourself, I kind of realised this could be a good thing. And I also kind of immediately went to PlayStation 5 announcement, whatever. I found out later that day or early the next morning, I can't remember exactly when, that someone on Reddit had actually leaked that Sony were just about to announce that. And I was like, interesting. So this sounds like a leaker with maybe some inside information. I then read up the rest of the stuff that they leaked. And the rumor is that there's going to be a small reveal event somewhere in the middle of, 2019. Of the PlayStation, similar to what they did with the PlayStation 4. Remember they had that weird teaser image or video or whatever before they actually revealed it, and then they revealed it at the PlayStation meeting, and then they kind of had a blowout at E3, and then they had the release. The rumor is it's going to be something similar to that. So there's going to be a small event sometime in the middle of 2019. Towards the end of 2019, you're going to have a sort of a PSX style event where where you're going to get the big blowout with maybe some launch games. And then the rumor is that it's going to release sometime in Q1 2020. So around March 2020.
Yeah.
At least that's what I've been reading. And that is interesting that's what's being talked about. A few other quick details. There's going to be a new version of the PSVR. The breakout box is going to be built into the console, so you'll just have the headset.
Crazy town!
New versions of the Move controllers, and a new DualShock, which will have apparently a touchscreen, as well as a camera in it for tracking.
No! I don't want that.
The camera is just for tracking.
Like
it's not
lot.
for, well, unless they, I don't know, do something else.
Oh yeah, I guess for VR. Yeah, okay.
So that's the rumor.
I've been wanting to step into the VR realm on PS for a while, and I've been like, because it's quite a good price now. It's like there's 200 quid bundles. It's quite good, but I'm holding off. I think for the
you
next...
might as well get the next one.
Yeah,
it
because if it's gonna have less of all the crap that you had to plug in for what you have currently, I think it's worth waiting.
I'm wondering if they're going to be backwards compatible. I'm guessing they will, in terms of, obviously, the headset right now plugs into a breakout box, which plugs into the PS4.
Yeah,
I'm wondering if the current headset will plug directly into the PlayStation 5, in which case, for people who did adopt early, they're not kind of left in the cold, but there will be an upgraded version of the headset as well.
I can imagine that would make more sense.
I think they'd be intelligent enough to do it that way as well.
It's exciting. I can't wait for all the... I love the PlayStation hype machine when it kicks into gear. It's really, really entertaining. So I'm ready. I'm ready, PlayStation.
Get hype.
Yeah, hype.
For 1 second, I just wanted to return to the whole E3 thing and then quickly round up this news because we've been talking about it for a long time.
Yeah.
But I wonder what that means for sort of, I'll call them third-party conferences.
Yes.
Altogether, because I think E3 is surely dying out. It's not relevant anymore. It's not important anymore. We have other dedicated events to, just to companies like BlizzCon and PSX and all that kind of stuff.
I don't know if it's necessarily dying out, but I do think its importance is waning. So I still think, you're still seeing companies like Bethesda, who traditionally hadn't done conferences, have now started doing conferences. So there's no reason why other third parties don't also get into that. Devolver have been doing a conference. Limited Run or something did a conference this year as well, which we didn't watch. But it's just to give you an idea that like third parties aren't going to be left out in the cold. They can just do their own smaller shows, which I think the ESA are going to have to rethink their budgeting for it, because like people aren't going to spend money on E3 if it's still as expensive as it is. So this might help to kind of level the outside playing field. But I do think that we've already seen Nintendo sort of do it with their directs. I do think you're going to see more of inside Xbox events for Microsoft, and PlayStation are going to try and do their own events as well. I think it just makes more sense because they get to control not only the news cycle for however long that they're going to be running, but also they get to control exactly what people see and what people don't.
I kind of see two paths to this, right? So either all the big AA publishers who can afford to have their own thing going will have their own thing and will leave E3, and then E3 will slightly become completely important and no one's going to pay attention, which is bad. Or I can see it becoming something that I think is slowly becoming to EGX over here in UK, where it's not incredibly relevant. It's it's one of the biggest gaming shows in UK, so that's why everyone sort of gathers together. It's our mecca for the year, and that's kind of important. But it's more becoming an indie place. It's becoming like an alternative res almost, because all the smaller companies now suddenly have more space to breathe, and they can bring more stuff with them and make more of a showing there. And that's kind of exciting if it becomes more of a platform for indie developers or interesting games, because now that the big giants that overshadow everything have gone away to do their own thing, it leaves a space to promote, to shine the light, to kind of, you know, in their own way to try to, for free to try to survive. They have to provide an alternative, and that's a good alternative to provide. And indie games is a good thing to have promoted because they usually don't.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm kind of hoping that that's, like, I know this is a bit utopian. It's kind of like, yay, wishful thinking. But I'm kind of hoping that that's where that might go.
Mm-hmm.
If it all works out. Okay, let's move on to something. The article is a bit different, but something also came out this week that I never knew I needed it until I needed it. Yeah. And I'm talking about the Detective Pikachu and Ryan Reynolds' Pikachu.
God. Oh my god. Oh my god. I am in love with this already. Like, just, it's perfect. It's absolutely perfect. I remember when this was announced, I was thinking, what?
Yeah. You were like, nah.
It's perfection. I'm so there. Mr. Mime is absolutely horrific nightmare fuel, and I don't ever need to see Mr. Mime ever again. But yeah, I'm excited for that movie. It looks cool. Pikachu looks so cute. I need him. I need the fluffy Pikachu.
Yeah, I enjoyed the trailer as well. It was really well done, and it had plenty of references for fans, but it also sold exactly what it was to anyone who obviously might have heard the name Pokemon but not really been involved in it. It was just what it needed. That was an incredibly good trailer.
So, talk me through this article that you posted. So, this an artist that got a job on this movie because he drew a realistic Pokemon? Am I misreading this completely?
No, that's exactly it. So, there's an artist called R.J. Palmer, and he was, I think he's just a fan, and he was drawing Pokemon, and he decided to try and do a realistic take. So the Kotaku article, which I'm sure will be linked on this in this post as well, has links to some of those old images, and they're far more realistic than the ones that actually appear in Detective Pikachu.
Some of them are quite scary.
Yeah, like he does like really monstrous versions of Charizard and Blastoise and all those Pokemon.
The Mewtwo gives me the creeps a little bit.
Yes, it's all a bit kind of freaky. But he I
mean, they look awesome.
Yeah, they do. They do,
but also a little bit creepy at the same time.
But he created these about 6 years ago, and they looked really, really good, and they got very popular. And I remember at the time they were posted on Kotaku as well.
Yeah, I remember. Yeah,
and it was around that time that I think he was working at an Ubisoft or something like that. But he got contacted by someone at the production company that was making the movie, and they asked him to kind of come in and consult for a period of time. And he contributed to the movie. And I just thought it was interesting that a fan who just created fan art that was quite popular and well done was then brought in as almost a concept artist or something on an actual movie production. And apparently he had a really good time. He was there for a few months. And like, I read the story and I was like, good on you. You know, like he created art that he liked. People enjoyed it, and because of that, he got an opportunity to work on something that he probably never would have even tried to go for himself. And it was just one of those feel-good stories. And to be honest with you, after the first story that we posted today, I wanted more feel-good stories. So this one just felt really, really good.
Yeah, that is a great story.
Okay, another feel-good thing, another feel-amazing thing is that Pedro Pascal is going to be the lead in Jon Favreau's Mandalorian. And guys, I'm so happy because
he's
Pedro
so
Pascal,
cool.
So good.
He's so good.
I even love him in the second Kingsman, which I do not love.
Yeah, see,
but I love Pedro
that's
Pascal.
Like, I haven't seen the second Kingsman because I avoided it because it sounded absolutely horrible. But I really like him, so I was very torn. So yeah,
he was quite good in that film. He was quite good, and his cowboy shtick worked quite well there. Obviously, I think it's actually going to possibly pull on something very similar for the Mandalorian series. Because that's the kind of the...
Can't he just be like the dude from Game of Thrones? Just be that dude
too.
again.
That too.
Oberyn.
That's it.
Oberyn, man.
Yeah. Just be him again, please. Because he was
that accent.
Awesome. Oh.
That accent made a lot of panties wet.
Yes. I could... Yeah. Mm-hmm. I think that's still my favourite series of Game of Thrones. That series that he was in.
That was 4, I believe.
Yeah, I can't remember.
Yes, I think it
By
was.
the way, a little sidetrack. You do, everyone, it's very likely that the next season of Game of Thrones is going to come end of April next year.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So we all better start rewatching because, 7 seasons to plod through.
I was thinking, if you're going to rewatch, now is the time.
Yeah, start now.
I think I might have to, because obviously we've had quite a long break, and I'll be like, who are you? What's happening? Who's this? Oh, God.
Anyway, moving on back to the Pedro Pascal and the Mandalorian news. I'm happy that
it's cool.
Kind of a drip and drop of news are coming back, but we still don't really know that much, which sounds good. And there was a bunch of other announcements. So they announced that Dave Filoni has worked in Star Wars: The Clone Wars and Star Wars Rebels. Will direct the first episode.
Cool. That's good.
There's going to be Taika Waititi from Thor Ragnarok, and we love Taika.
Yeah.
Bryce Dallas Howard.
Yeah, she's cool. Yeah, this is good.
Someone whose name I will not pronounce properly, Rick Famuyiwa, and Berto from Jessica Jones. Yep, so it looks like what Jon Favreau is doing. He's like, let's collect my great buddies and tell them to direct episodes of Mandalorian, and I'm kind of on board with that.
Yup. It sounds incredible so far. The names that they're dropping are incredible. I'm really looking forward to this. I mean, we've all agreed in the past that the Star Wars lore is ripe for kind of digging into, and it doesn't need to involve anything to do with Skywalkers.
Yeah.
It can be completely divorced from it, and I'm hoping this series does that. Like, Star Wars as a universe it's vast. Diverse and vast, and we've only seen a little tiny piece, and I really want them to start exploring it a bit more. And this sounds like it could be the first thing to do that, because up until now, everything we've had from that universe has just been invariably tied into the pre-existing story. Now, the one detail that kind of tells me that it's going to still be tied in some way is the fact that this is set after the fall of the Empire, but before the emergence of the First Order. So basically around the same time period as what was it? The new series that they've brought out, the Rebels or Rebellion, Star Wars Rebellion, the animated show. So that's still sort of tangentially tied in. But I still hope they have all the freedom to just go and explore other things, because they don't need to keep tying it into the same thing. I mean, the name is all you need to know, really. Yeah,
I don't mind if they say, oh, Leia did this, or Luke disappeared, or whatever. But just don't bring those characters to the screen.
No,
exactly. We have enough of them on the big screen, and we love them, we truly do. But this should really be something. The universe is big enough to fit all of the things in.
Definitely.
Precisely.
Now I'm going to read out the heading of this news, and Di's going to fill in the gaps because he definitely knows more about this. So, Devil May Cry series coming from Castlevania Netflix producer. Cool.
Yeah, so
Di, unleash your wisdom to the world.
This was a really, really weird thing. So I saw on Twitter a few days ago that Adi Shankar, the producer behind Castlevania, he also did the shorts for Laundry, which was the Punisher video that came out a few years back, and he did a gritty version of Power Rangers, like a fan film that came out a few years back as well.
I remember that.
Exactly. This is the same dude. So he's the one who's behind Castlevania. And I really, as you're well aware at this stage, I really enjoyed Castlevania. He posted a tweet during the week basically saying that he had something to announce. And then he did this really weird and stilted video on IGN. You can give it a watch if you want. It was almost like a promotional video, but not, where he basically just announces that he's acquired the rights to do Devil May Cry. And he's going to turn it into a series. No confirmation yet on where that is. But as far as I'm aware, it's going to be animated, so it's probably going to be the same production house that did Castlevania, in which case that's good, because they did a really good job there. And there's also no confirmation that it's going to be on Netflix, but I'm guessing with their relationship already kind of in for a third season of Castlevania, there's no reason why they wouldn't keep that going with another series. So I'm really looking forward to this, because Devil May Cry is a cool series. It's just...
I love Devil May Cry. It's ace. I'm really excited for the new game. I think it looks cracking.
It does.
I'm not amazing at it. Like, it's hard for my brain to get combos and, run in, because I'm like, oh god, what's happening? Mm-hmm. There's so much going on. But, you can throw around, like, motorcycles with chainsaws on them.
Exactly.
And stuff. And, I mean,
who
doesn't want that?
Look good when it's animated?
Who doesn't want that in a game or in an anime? Yeah, I'm down. I'm down for this.
So it was just a brief story that I saw that I was like, Yep, I'm hyped for this. I'm looking forward to this.
Yeah, sounds ace.
Yeah, so it's if you're not aware, Devil May Cry Capcom series originally created as a sequel to Resident Evil. Resident Evil, was it 2? I think it was an original version of it, and then they just sort of spun it off into its own. Because the direction went in a completely different way, and they spun it off into its own series. Exactly,
yeah. Basically, they had a whole bunch of characters that were going to become a new main entry in the Resident Evil series, and they were like... And it was going to be like Devil May Cry, it was going to be more action-y, and they were like, hang on a second. This isn't Resident Evil, but this is super cool. Let's make something else with it. And that became Devil May Cry. So... I mean, Resident Evil, the gift that keeps on giving, basically.
Exactly, yeah.
And it already gave us whiskers, so what more can it give? But apparently it can.
But yeah, it's an incredibly fun series. I think there's like remasters and stuff up on the PlayStation Store if you want to have a quick look, and the Xbox Store.
And you know what? I actually think the Ninja Theory one is pretty decent.
That was the one I came back for, because I played the first two. And I didn't enjoy the second one, so I kind of stayed away from the third one and the fourth one. And then they did DMC, the Ninja Theory one. I came back for it, and I really enjoyed that, but none of its hardcore fans liked it, so they're now going back to the original formula.
I played the first 3. I think I liked them all. I don't think I played 4. I think I skipped that one. And then, like you say, I came back for DMC. And I did really enjoy it. It's bloody stupid at times.
Oh, yes.
But it kind of embraces the stupid, and it's okay. But I can also see why long-term fans of the series didn't quite like it. But the new one looks like it's retained a lot of the craziness from DMC, but more kind of in line with what the fans would expect. So yeah, I'm so hyped for that game. Looks ace.
It
looks
does.
Ace. Yes.
Okay, I've cheekily added one more news, which is very Alex news.
How dare you, Alex? How dare
you? Sorry. But it's an Alex news. I kind of have to.
It's fine. Yeah.
Yeah. So George Martin. Of Game of Thrones fame.
Martin, yeah.
You have to say it. You have to go, George Martin of Game of Thrones fame. So basically, lately he had a lot going on. So there is a series, Night Flyers, coming, can't remember where, but it's like a space series that he's been promoting lately. And also he's been promoting his Targaryen history book, Fire and Blood. And as part of that, he gave a series of interviews around various places and kind of came out of his writing cave and had to answer questions about The Winds of Winter, the next installment of A Song of Ice and Fire book.
Yes.
That we've been waiting for
since
5 years,
the dawn of
6
time.
years. Yeah.
Feels like it.
And one of the interviews he gave to The Guardian, he basically, I think at this point he was like, look, there's no marketing about, no one is not gonna, figure this out. I'm struggling with this. I'm just gonna say it outright.
No is he struggling with it. Christ.
Yeah.
I think that's been obvious to anyone with eyes and ears for quite some time.
Yeah.
And to be honest, who wouldn't struggle with writing something of that magnitude? I mean, he is a human after all.
Yeah. I mean, what I found, I'm gonna read this quote from the interview that I think is very sort of telling about his writing process and kind of very telling about the potential of Winds of Winter, but also of how the expansive the universe he's created has become. He says the Winds of Winter is not so much a novel as 1,000 novels, each with a different protagonist, each having a different cast of supporting players, antagonists, allies, and lovers around them, and all of these moving together against the march of time in an extremely complex fashion. So it's very, very challenging. Fire and Blood, the Targaryen book, by contrast, was very simple. Not that it's easy, it still took me years to put together, but it's easier.
And the weight of expectation on the Winds of Winter as well, that can't make it any easier. Like, it's a Herculean task.
Yeah, and I mean, the thing about, and why I really feel for George in the situations, is that there are a lot of fun, really fun reveals that he had scheduled for book 6 and 7, right? One of them, without giving much to away, was Hold the Door. He was really looking forward to writing that. And then sort of the show went and spoiled that. And of course, show went and spoiled that. The show had to go on and had to do things. And it's one of the plot points that he told them. So of course, they kind of revealed that in the TV show. But that was, that's almost like, that was his thing, right? That was his big thing. That was the plot and the mystery that has been going on since the first big book came out in, 1981?
Yeah.
The year I was born.
I'm sure all the HBO money makes it better, though.
I know, and I think, he's been super good at saying, my books are still my books, the TV show is on thing, but I can't imagine that doesn't put some pressure and feels a bit discouraging, and that's why he's been doing all the other projects like Duncan Egg Stories and Fire and Blood series, because he needed a break, he needed something else.
Yeah, I can understand
to step away from Game of Thrones and maybe let the show run its course and then come back to Winds of Winter. It's not like he hasn't written enough, it's like he's written too much as always.
Yeah.
Yeah, he needs to take a break. And to be honest with you, once April arrives and we get our episodes and it all kind of finishes off, then he can come back, as you say, and just sort of deliver what people have wanted. I mean, he's written a lot, clearly, of Winds of Winter already. I'm sure at this stage it's probably just, not too much left to do for that book, and I'm sure he's also prepping the next one. So I think the pressure will come off once the series is done. In that case, he can just sort of do it, get it out there, and hopefully fans will cut him a bit of slack. But we'll see.
There we go. So, I found out this quite interesting and very relatable. I thought that article was very relatable.
You'd have to have a heart of stone to not feel for him. Like,
yeah.
Yes, he's had enormous success and wealth from the series, but it's also an incredible burden at the same time.
And it's not like he hasn't deserved it, It's like,
no,
you have all this money, blah, 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 blah. I'm like,
no.
He wrote books. He
Absolutely.
worked hard for this. Like, it's not like it just fell on his lap or something and it's
exactly.
like, oh, his money, so, let's just regard all the struggles he's going through.
No, absolutely not. He created something incredibly special and enormous and brilliant. So he deserves absolutely all of the success. Yeah, you can definitely feel for him, for sure.
I also think under any other sort of media, when you get the success that he has and you get all of that money and you think, oh, great, that's really good for him. The problem with that is that money doesn't really help him with the task at hand.
No.
I mean, he can't clone himself. He can, he is still
like a little
one man
row of George
writing
R. R.
a book.
Martins typewriters, like monkeys, like
exactly.
typing.
And it's not like he can have millions and millions of dollars. It doesn't really make a difference to the fact that he's still a guy sitting at a typewriter or computer or with a pen and paper or whatever. He's still just a dude trying to finish off a huge book. So his success doesn't really help him. Unlike in films, let's say, if you do a film, it does really, really well. You might get budget, which means more people to help you, more, and all that kind of stuff. Whereas with books, it's like, if you do really well, it's still just you and the blank page that you need to fill. And it's like, okay, well, I better get on with it.
Okay, so with that, we're going to finish our news segment and go into our topic.
Yeah.
Di, guess what? You're talking again.
Excellent. Yeah, so very recently I watched Mile 22. This was a film that was advertised a few months back when it was out in cinemas, and I kind of got a I was like, I'm interested in this because it had some people in it that I kind of liked, like John Malkovich, Lauren Cohen from The Walking Dead, Iko Uwais from The Raid. So people like that, I was like, interesting. It's an action film with those people in it, and it looks decent. It looks exciting. Let's give it a watch. I didn't get to see it in the cinema, but I got to see it once it released digitally. And I was like, okay, that's cool. So I watched the film, and as it starts, it is basically about a group called Overwatch. Don't get excited. Not our Overwatch.
Sorry.
There are no Reinhardts. There are no Mercies. There's just Mark Wahlberg.
What a letdown.
Disappointment.
Yeah, exactly. So Mark Wahlberg is in charge of this. He's not in charge of. He's a member of, but the leader of a group that called themselves Overwatch. They're basically.
I mean, look, that is not Soldier 76. What?
Yeah. Exactly. And this film is certainly not that. It's really weird. So basically, they're trying to stop this plot where some bad people have captured cesium, and they want to turn, I think 6 cesium blocks into dirty bombs to blow up cities and all that kind of stuff. That's what they're going in for. And Overwatch is an organization that's kind of separate to the government, so it has deniability. So when diplomacy doesn't work, when the military doesn't work, then you call in this third option. So that's what they're meant to be. They're kind of like the last line of defense.
I bet they don't even have a giant talking gorilla, do they?
Apparently not.
Rubbish.
At least not in this film. Maybe in the sequel.
Absolutely rubbish.
And a super extremely hamster in a moving ball.
Exactly.
Don't have that either.
Although,
rubbish.
If you put Marky Mark in a ball, I don't know. So the film takes place, it opens with one of their missions, and they succeed in getting some information, but they fail in actually getting the cesium back. And 16 months later, Iko Uwais' character named Lee shows up at the embassy in an unidentified Southeast Asian country. So we don't know where exactly it is. But he shows up and he says, I have the locations of all of the other cesium, but you need to get me out of this country before I tell you. Because the military can't get involved because it's kind of someone else's state and he's a fugitive of theirs, they use Overwatch instead. And they basically have to get him to an airstrip 22 miles away, hence the name of the film, in order to get him out of the country. And obviously when they start doing that, they immediately start getting attacked. And it's about, do they get there in time? Do they get him to where he needs to go? Do they end up finding the cesium and getting rid of it? And the film is exactly what you kind of expect in terms of the dialogue. It's incredibly macho and incredibly over the top.
God.
And it's a bit cringy, I'll be honest. The action itself is quite enjoyable, especially when you have the guy from The Raid in an action scene where he's basically in his underwear fighting 3 or 4 different people. And he's covered in blood and just sort of really violent. It's really, really good. However, around halfway, well, actually not halfway, maybe the last third of the film, the story completely changes. And it does so in a way that I really wasn't expecting, and I actually quite enjoyed. So I was kind of going into this, and as I was watching the film, if you imagine a sort of a scoreboard kind of fluctuating up and down based on things that are happening on screen. So basically, anytime Mark Wahlberg talked in that macho kind of, quick, what he does, that scoreboard immediately started to tick down. Anytime there was action on scene, it kind of ticked up again. But it was hovering around like a 3 out of 5 for me. Right. Then the kind of the twist and the sort of the change of direction at the end immediately brought this up to a 4 for me. Because I thought that's really interesting the way they did it. And because of that, I think they've already said that this is initially the first film in a trilogy. And I really do want to see what the next one is.
It's going to be mile 23, right?
Potentially.
We just got to go that little bit further. Just an extra mile.
Or they move to a different
Amazing.
country and it's kilometre 40 whatever.
It sounds pretty fun. It does sound pretty fun. Mark Wahlberg, it can be very hit and miss, can't he? Like, poor Marky Mark.
Now, this
He's
is
made
directed...
some absolute stinkers.
This is directed by Peter Berg, and Mark Wahlberg has worked with him a few times. So he did Deepwater Horizon, he did Patriots Day.
Excellent film.
Exactly. So that's the kind of quality you're looking at in terms of at least the action. You kind of know
I'm
what you're
suddenly
getting.
a lot more interested when you
Exactly.
said Peter Berg. I was like, oh, yes, because he's cracking. He's a great director.
So there you go.
So, fabulous.
Yeah, I would recommend this. Try and get over the kind of the dialogue if you can, because it's a bit cringy. But once you do, and once you get to the end of the film, I think you'll have enjoyed the experience overall.
I think I'll watch that. That sounds, that's cool. I didn't realise it was Peter Berg, so I'm up for that. Cool.
Nice.
Mm-hmm. Joe.
Yes.
Are you down with some pieces?
Down with some
I was trying to.
Pepperinos.
I was trying to go with up for that, but I think I failed miserably in that transition. So, can I just let you talk about Tetris Effect?
Sure.
Without embarrassing myself further?
So,
Okay, cool.
On the stream last weekend, I played Tetris Effect, and I haven't been able to stop thinking about it since. This game is absolutely stunning. So, if you hadn't heard of it, basically it is, yes, as the name suggests, a new version of Tetris, but so much more than that. Like, you think, oh, it's just Tetris. It's just a new Tetris. No. It is Tetris expanded, Tetris universe, Tetris kind of on a whole other plane. So basically this comes to us, it's produced by Tetsuya Mitsuguchi, who some people might know did Rez and Lumines, and basically...
Or Lumineers.
Lumines.
Lumines. Yeah.
Who knows?
I legitimately called it Lumines for far too long before I realised Luminous actually makes more sense.
Luminous. So he's produced it. It's directed by a chap called Takashi Ishihara, who actually did the art for this, but it is stunning. Oh my god, is this game stunning. So I think it's ideally played in VR, but I'm not playing it in VR because I don't have VR, so I'm just playing it on standard, and I tell you what, it is absolutely exceptional. Just like it's I think the only game I've ever played that is equal parts frustrating but also wonderfully zen and calming at the same time. Like, I've never known that experience in a game where you can be working through a level, like getting your tetraminos in place and building your levels, and be equally frustrated by it and be like, come on, oh god, I've put that one in the wrong place. But also, you feel so chill. And the way the game does this is, it's all about leveling music and art and kind of visual particle effects in with what you're doing. So each level, each stage, as it were, has an animated backdrop, and it takes you to all sort of different journeys. So the first level, for example, is like you're under the sea. It's like an abyss level, and so it all starts off quite chill and blue and dark, and then as you start matching blocks, your blocks match in time with the music, and things start to happen and particles start to come in, and then you'll see like a stingray, and there's all sorts of other different visual and particle effects that come on, and the music will swell, and it's got this wonderful electronic soundtrack, and it really does just make you feel this wonderful sense of exhilaration and zen playing Tetris, right? And not only has the game been upgraded in terms of visuals and audio and having this wonderful sound matching experience, but they've added some layers to the gameplay which just make it so much more involved. So Tetris obviously was always a classic, like it's an absolute classic of puzzle gameplay, but now they've added this thing called a zone mechanic. So what you can do when you are matching your blocks and you build up like a zone score, and when you've maxed this out, you can activate it, and what that does is it essentially the blocks will keep falling, but they won't clear anymore. So you can build up level, and do a whole different level of combos. So you could clear 16 lines simultaneously, which is apparently a decahexatris.
What the?
A decahexatris. Right, I'm just reading this off Wikipedia, so apologies if it's wrong.
It's like you naming all the different type of dinosaurs again. I'm like, is that a word?
You can also, apparently it's possible to clear 20 lines at once, which is called an Ultimatoris. right?
Ultimatoris Rex.
There's ultimate. Amazing. And you get like a rank depending on how you do in each level, like how many combos you build up and how fast you do things. I'm terrible, right? I'm like DE rank at the moment. I need to get so much better at it because there's times where it speeds up and my brain just cannot work quickly enough to kind of like figure out what I want to do next. Like I can't work fast enough ahead. But I never thought I would play a Tetris game and have it move me, like actually move me emotionally to tears. And like I was playing this on stream, like about to burst into floods of tears because of just how this game was making me feel. And it's Tetris! It's bloody Tetris, and it's just making you feel that. And just the marriage of the classic Tetris, upgraded Tetris gameplay with these wonderful visuals and this incredibly sort of moving and zen music. It's absolutely outstanding. This is Game of the Year kind of material. I never thought I'd be thinking of Tetris being one of my games of the year, but it absolutely is. I'm so impressed with this, and from what I've heard, it's even better in VR. So if you have PSVR, this is a must. Like, this is an absolute must. Get it. Brilliant game. Absolutely brilliant.
Well, the good news is I do have it. I've only played one level so far, but yes. Yes, it is.
Are you playing it in VR, yeah?
I played it yesterday out of VR, and I played it this morning in VR.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So in terms, because I really want to play it in VR, and I will one day, but so what's the kind of the difference? I guess it just feels so much more immersive.
Yeah, you're basically just in, it's similar to, you've probably seen videos of like Res being played. Yes. When you play Res on a flat screen, it's really, really beautiful and all that. Now imagine that beauty wrapped around your face.
Oh,
now that is exactly what when you have those effects that you were talking about, like the stingrays and all that, like they just whiz past you and kind of.
It's amazing.
It's just it's outstanding.
I need to come to your house and play it in VR. But I mean, if people weren't aware, the reason it's called Tetris Effect is it's been named after the phenomenon of the same name, which is a medically recognised phenomenon called the Tetris Effect, where actually players, after they've been playing Tetris for a long time, would report being able to still see the blocks falling after quitting the game. And so it's that kind of, like, you know, when you look at something for a long time, like an effect, and you can still see it when you close your eyes. It's that kind of particle effect that just repeats itself in your visual cortex. So it's incredible. It's incredible, this game. I cannot praise it highly enough. Like, in a year where we've had such incredible games and such a huge variety of big, massive open world games, a Tetris game can easily stand shoulder to shoulder with everything else we've had this year. Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant.
Cool.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah. Very good. Very good. Very
Sorry,
good.
I went on a bit there. I got a bit excited about fine. Tetris.
That game has kind of like changed everything in a weird way.
It's amazing.
It's still relevant.
Yeah.
Who would have thought that Tetris would still be relevant?
Amazing.
But it is. Guys, I know we're a bit close in time, but I gotta talk about this.
I know.
So
I'm going to see it on Tuesday, so no spoilers.
Yeah, no, that's fine. That's fine. That's fine. If you've known me for a while, you probably know that number one most anticipated movie for me this year was Ocean's 8. Yeah. And that was glorious and delicious and fantastic and everything I wanted and more. Now, my second, or competing most anticipated movie of the year was Fantastic Beasts: The Crime of Grindelwald, because I love Fantastic Beasts. I'm a Harry Potter nerd. I just love that universe. I know far too much. I spend far too much time researching and reading up stuff, and there's too much weird, unrelated information that I will never use in real life about that universe that is sitting in my brain doing nothing.
Hey, it's all good. I've got a brain full of dinosaurs, so I don't need to know what dinosaurs are called, but I do.
Well, yeah, there you go. So, The Crimes of Grindelwald. So, it's the second installment in the Fantastic Beasts series, which is a series about Newt Scamander and Tina Goldstein, I think, and her sister Queenie, and Jacob Kowalski. Now, this time around, so I think one of the things we were so excited about this series is that it expanded the universe, because I think Harry Potter series, while great in all its different ways, it was kind of a little bit Brexit in terms of that it was kind of just focused on Britain and none of the other world basically existed or were too relevant. So in this series, they decided to travel around. So obviously in the first Fantastic Beasts, they traveled to America. So we learned a lot about American mages. And then now we traveled to Paris. Now, here's the thing. I still need a bit of time and to think how I feel about this movie. But I'm afraid my first impression is that I do not like it. Which is a bit disappointing for me. Like, don't get me wrong, there are still some unbelievably good parts in it and things that make me giddy with excitement and make me jump on the chair and go yay. But overall, if I put on my critical glasses on and I think about everything I've seen critically and I analyze it, I have to come up with the answer that it's not a great movie.
Yeah, you're not alone in that. Most of the reviews kind of are saying the same.
Yeah, I have not read any reviews. I have not heard anything. Like, I literally saw it yesterday, late night, went to bed, woke up, talked to you guys. So that's where literally I'm at with that movie. And the number thing is, look, the great thing about the first Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them was that, yes, it was part of a bigger story, clearly, but it was also a very contained story within itself, right? And it was sort of magical and fluffy and full of different weird animals and Newt bonding with them. And Niffler! Well, Niffler makes an appearance if that makes you happy. Yes, he plays quite an important part, actually.
Good.
And so Niffler makes an appearance. But, you know, there were other sort of more important, darker storylines within that movie that carried sort of the emotional weight and the weight of the message. But at the core of the center, it was about this magical animals and about this magiologist who could not bond with people but could bond with animals, and his story and other assorted group of characters. And you could kind of like follow the storylines and you could get to know them. What The Crimes of Grindelwald feels like, it feels like an installment of a series. It's no way a contained entity. It is definitely a part of something. Some characters feel incredibly undeveloped. Jacob and Queenie were always my favorite. I think they're so brilliant and so funny, and, you know, they were both unbelievably charismatic. Their charisma lifted Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them, the first one.
Yeah.
And they certainly tried to do that for the second one. I mean, look, they're there. The thing that I pretty much wouldn't be able to tell you what Jacob was doing in that movie, except being Jacob and being incredibly charming, which I'm all for, but I don't really, like, he hasn't done anything of importance in that. Queenie's storyline feels incredibly rushed. She goes through a very big, important change in that movie, and it, to me, doesn't feel justified. To me, it feels like they could have given her that in the third movie, you know? They could have built this up in this movie if they really wanted to, because there's clearly, it feels like such an installment. Everything is so kind of halfway there that you might as well have done that. I don't know why you had to push that. The other thing, okay, so before I go into the other things I don't like, I want to talk about the things I do like. Now, Zoe Kravitz as Little Lestrange.
She's great, Zoe Kravitz.
Loved Zoe Kravitz. I mean, I pretty much love her in everything.
Yeah.
But Little Lestrange, she was just so good. Unbelievably. I don't know. To me, she's embodied, and it's if you know the Lestranges from Harry Potter series, all I say, it's a very different character. It's not what you expect it to be. But at the same time, she carries some gravitas of what, I guess, the better parts of that horrible family are, if you know the Harry Potter universe. She's fantastic. Another thing, look, I know we're not big fans of Johnny Depp, but I gotta say, he's pretty good.
Yeah,
like, whatever you think about him, well, look, I gotta give the man a credit where he's due. He's a great actor, and as Grindelwald, he's pretty good. I mean, already I've seen him someone play that character in the first movie and the second movie, and I can tell you I already like him more than Voldemort, because Voldemort was very one-note kind of person.
Voldemort was super basic in terms of character,
He was very basic, and Grindelwald already has many more layers. He's, like, I don't think we know everything we want to know about him yet, but I feel like he's way more developed as a villain, and I like that, and I think that's a good thing for him. And I think Johnny Depp doesn't Johnny Depp it too much. Like,
good.
He wouldn't. Good. There are moments where I can kind of like, oh, that's a Johnny Depp thing, but most of the time I can completely believe that he transformed into this different character and he embodies. You know, there are really some really cool animals, and there are some really cool shots and really funny moments, and you know, seeing Hogwarts again in a different era. I'm just gonna say that Professor McGonagall makes an appearance.
Oh, cool!
Because that's and that is great, and very, you know, it's not like she's there front and center, but that cheered me up.
Yeah.
On that note, for how much they hyped up Dumbledore, there is not. I wouldn't say he does anything important in there, or there's a lot of him. Or
Jude Law, though, is pretty fit.
Yeah, pretty fit. Pretty fit. Can't lie.
Isn't it funny how Jude Law has come full circle? Like, do you remember when he did a bad thing and everyone would joke about him saying, what's the most ridiculous law in England? Jude Law. But he's cool again now. And yeah, I like him.
It's because of the beard, isn't it?
Yeah,
possibly.
The beard does help. Yeah. The beard does help. Okay, one big complaint, and I will absolutely leave this on it and let you guys watch it and hopefully maybe enjoy it more than I did. But it feels like J.K. Rowling is suffering from a little Star Wars prequel effect.
Oh,
As in, she's really trying to make sure that anyone new in this universe is related to someone we know.
Okay.
You know the whole Nagini thing, right? That's exactly what I'm talking about. She's there. She's there set up again for the next movies. She doesn't do much. She's for those who don't know, they've revealed this earlier. This is not a spoiler for the movie in any sense of direction, but Nagini, the character, is going to be Nagini, Voldemort's snake in the later Harry Potter, because she is, I can't remember the name of that creature, but she's a person who transforms into an animal, and at some point she will not be able to transform back.
I think.
Maledictus, thank you very much, yes. So she's going to stay as Snake Nagini forever. But yeah, and there's just a lot of things where they're really trying to relate to people we know. I'm like, why are you doing this? I really don't understand. You've gone through so much effort of going to different countries and exploring their cultures and expanding this universe, and then you just bring it back to the same names.
It's fan service. It's something for the fans to be like, ooh!
Yes. The character that we're super excited about, fans just there to tick the box, really, not doing anything story important at all. I've enjoyed them going into the magical history and the magical legacy of American mages. They're just in Paris. You'd learn nothing about Paris mages that you haven't known before. They bring nothing new to the table. They just wanted a different backdrop. That's how it feels like. The characters very conveniently appear and reappear and meet each other, because apparently this is such a tiny world that you just meet someone on the street, everyone's related to each other somehow. And I know you can argue, the magical community is not as big as the Muggle community, if you want to put it that way. Of course, all these families are interrelated and kind of know each other because they are not, they're a smaller group of people. But come on, they're not that small. They're not that small that everyone's related to anyone. And, if you're a strong wizard, that means you are related to one or two other very well-known strong wizards or something like that. That kind of thing. It's like, what? It's like Rey. She could be no one. She doesn't have to be anyone to wield the Force. And I want to say the same to the Harry Potter. This person can be a really strong witch/wizard, and they don't have to be related to an incredibly magical family to make that happen.
Yeah. Got ya.
Anyway,
so a bit of a mixed bag then, really.
I mean, look, there's some really fun, enjoyable parts in it, and I enjoyed being into the magical world, which I love, and seeing other things. but it's a bit disappointing. In the grand scheme of things, if you stop and think about it for extra 5 seconds, I don't think it's a very good movie at all. And it's a shame. It's a real shame, because it's got some outstanding moments in it, and I love that universe, and I love the first movie. But this was just not my bag. And I'm looking forward to you guys watching it and telling me what you think, but that's my opinion as of today morning, yesterday evening, yesterday night.
Oh, well.
There you go. I know.
Hopefully the third one will lift it back up again.
Hopefully. I mean, I don't know. Yeah, are they sticking with David Yates for all 5 of them?
Oh, I have no idea. No idea.
I mean, David Yates is okay, but come on, just give Harry Potter universe to someone else. You don't have to give it to one guy.
It would be good to mix it up a little bit. Get a fresh set of eyes.
Give it back to Alfonso Cuarón.
Oh my god, that was... I'm sorry, that was one of the best,
absolutely,
visually most exciting movies of the Harry Potter universe. They should have done that. Yeah, by the way, there are some really weird camera angles and close-ups in that movie that I'm like, what are you trying to do here? I don't really understand. Anyway, but moving along with that, you're planning to watch in the cinema, or you're skipping this one?
I don't know. I think I probably will go to the cinema to see this. If I do, it'll probably be tomorrow night. And yeah, I'm cautiously optimistic. Like Joe, I read the reviews, or a few reviews before you talked about it, and your review has now kind of basically, it's in tune with all of the other reviews, so it's not it doesn't feel like it's a necessary cinema watch, but at the same time, I do just enjoy going to the cinema anyway. Yeah. So we'll see. I'm still undecided. I'll see. I need to check if I can drag Sean along with me, but we'll see.
Well, I know he's going through the Harry Potter audiobooks at the moment, isn't he? Mm-hmm. Struggle through, you're nearly there.
I don't understand how you're struggling. They just fly by me.
They do for me as well, but I think as a first time when he sees the playtime and it's 29 hours, he might,
good lord.
He might feel a bit of a...
yay, so much Harry Potter!
Yeah, see, it's not for me. I've never read the books, and I never will.
You should.
No, there's not enough time.
You did not see, little breaking noise as you drop a cup on the floor? That was my heart right there.
I'm sorry.
Wow. Anyway, and on that note, let's finish this episode. And I know I said, hey guys, can we stick to an hour, and then blabbled on?
We're only a little bit over.
Don't worry, we all blab.
I got too excited about Tetris.
And then, added another news topic to our already busy news topic. It's okay. I'm not a hypocrite. Anyway, before we go, we quickly gotta give some shout outs and thank yous to BigRedBarel and Freya Goddard for commenting and listening. And if you would like to get in touch with us, you can do so on BigRedBarel.com via forums or notes for this episode or any other episodes. I try to keep an eye on them. You can also go to Facebook, facebook.com/BigRedBarel. You can chat to us on Twitter at BigRedBarel is our handle. If you use hashtag Geek Speak, it will help us to find your tweets. Thank you very much. You can also speak to us directly. I'm at DustyTulip_.
I'm at Pixel Ritual.
And I'm at Diarmuid_S.
And as always, if you leave us an iTunes review, we will love you forever. Very gently and very tenderly.
Unless you ask for something, we're not gonna...
Yeah, we don't judge.
We don't judge. Yeah. Exactly. Also, Tuesday's a Tuesday, and on Tuesday we have Tabletop Tuesday, a board game night in Loading Bar in Dalston, London. And every week we have a new feature game. If you play that game on the night, you have a chance to win a copy of it. So, the latest details of what feature game there is and how to play it and the video are going to be on BigRedBarel.com, top left-hand corner. So go there and check it out. There's also a list of all the games in the bar, so you can come and play, and if the feature game is not to your fancy, you can play one of bajillion games out there. Seriously, there's a crazy scary amount. Okay, Joe.
Yes.
Are we still doing the streamings?
Yes. So I had to miss a couple this week because of stupid work things. Just kidding. I love you, work, but work things. So yes, we'll be back to regular schedules now. So Mondays, Thursdays, and Saturdays, 7:00. Twitch.tv/Pixel Ritual. Can't even say my own name. By the time this episode goes out, we'll have finished The Evil Within 2. So we'll finally know the source of the porridge monsters and whether Derek was behind the whole thing. And then I think I'm going to be playing Neo. So that's going to be something we'll be settled in.
I am looking forward to that.
For a bit of a long one. I played it a bit already, but I think I stopped because something else came out that I kind of had to play immediately, and so Neo never got finished. So I'm going to restart it.
Nice.
And it was great. I was loving it. And with all the amazing samurai games we've got coming next year, I'm kind of really excited to play one right now. So yeah, so we're going to be playing Neo. Tune in, watch me get really annoyed with it, because that will happen.
Yes.
So twitch.tv/pixelritual.
That's right.
7 o'clock British time, Monday, Thursday, Saturdays. But I would watch Joe's Twitter where she announces all that
keep
stuff.
an eye on the Twitter. That's where I will give any last minute updates if I have to cancel for whatever reason. But hopefully now, at least towards the end of the year, we should be totally on schedule.
Woohoo! Have I forgotten anything?
No, I think that's everything.
Okay, so with that, I've been Buns.
You've been Buns. Love it. I've been thinking about Tetris.
I've been Diarmuid, I think.
You think?
You think?
You think?
Yeah. Okay.
Can't be sure.
Bid you
sure.
goodbye.
Bye.
Buns.
Tetris butts. Tetramino butts everywhere.
I only found out when I started playing Tetris Effect that tetraminos are tetraminos when they're falling, and when they've fallen, they're blocks.
Yeah,
I didn't know that.
That's correct, yeah. And they're spelled differently in Tetris. So, like, tetramino is a real thing, but in Tetris, they're called tetraminos. So it's spelled differently. No. Anyway, I'm gonna stop now. Bye. Yes.
You and your ears are quite welcome.
For the podcasting goodness that you just heard.
Why not roll on over
to BigRedBarel.com
for more podcasts,
news, reviews, and videos from the biggest, reddest site on the internet, BigRedBarel.com.